Yeah.
Back at it.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
Yo. Hey, and look what I found from last one.
Boom.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes. Now we're like 80s show. Yeah. You're watching those old shows and you're just like, how did we keep watching this?
I have no idea. Like Family
It's
Ties.
insane. It's just they injected it. Now some of it was recorded in front of a live audience, but some of it wasn't. They just kept injecting that laugh.
Yeah,
track.
but even when it is in front of a live audience, a lot of times you get
Or they had the signs.
right
Like,
applause.
Yeah, applause. Yeah. Yeah, this is where it happens. So, on that note, and we want to kind of keep it positive. We were talking just a minute ago. You said you had to choose happy. Tell me about that. Like, so you kind
Well,
of
hold
bring
on.
the preface.
We had Chick-fil-A. So
Yes.
if they want to sponsor us, we're more than happy to take a
Yes.
sponsor. Let's blow this thing up.
I've had the app for years, like platinum level.
Right. No, we were just talking about some friends of ours are going through what they would describe a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the fighting back and forth is like, well, you don't make me happy or you make me do this.
Okay.
And I'm not going to go into the details.
Right. But like nobody can make you do anything.
Right. So back in the day, I always felt like my wife needed to make me happy. Well, I was sorely disappointed a lot. Right.
Why did you have that sort of thinking? Why, like, what made you think that's the standard?
Because it's like, where did you learn how to think? Right. It was from your parents and their parents. Right. So it was always, even to this day, my dad thinks that his wife is responsible to make him happy.
Okay. But does he also allow other people, like, do his emotions are the emotions tied to external entities? Like, how that's difficult for me to understand. Just emotions to me are like an internal thing.
Right.
So I wouldn't go put that on like.
Well, like with our last episode, you talked about just snapping.
You're going berserk.
Right. Well, that's because a lot of the suppression that you have inside of you, even whether you're happy or unhappy, there's still suppression, and over time that can come out. So but you
have to choose happy. That's the thing. Something
but
can't make you happy.
Some of these people just don't know how to do that. And what I mean by that is they don't know how to. My dad doesn't know how to.
Do they want to?
They want somebody else to do it for them. And that's
Right.
the problem.
Okay. And it's not like an entitlement thing, but it's really
well,
just
it's
really
a
more
selfishness.
right? And it's an expectation.
It's an expectation that will never be met because you're in charge of that.
Right.
And that's what these people, well, when I say these people, these unhappy people don't realize that they're in charge of that because of whatever in the environment that's going wrong or their world's in an uproar.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, I got a text today from somebody, and you know him, but he put in there, he goes, hey, I need prayers. Like, he's a roofer, but his last storm, he wasn't seeing the fruit from it, and he's put himself in a bind. He's like, yeah, like, I need a miracle right now. So if you're that person that needs a miracle all the time, you start looking internally, because that's what I told him. I said, well, why are you always in the need of a miracle?
But it was that sentence right before, to put myself in a bind.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I remember my grandfather had that sort of like expectation. That's 2 generations ago, right? Like, had that sort of expectation of, hey, I'm hungry. In fact, like, that was like the ultimate, like, by him saying, hey, I'm hungry. Like, it's like, you should know that it's time for me to eat, and you know what I want, and like, it should be in front of me already. So by the time he's saying, and this was like to his wife, to my grandmother. So she cooked for him. And I remember asking, I was like little, I'm like, so you cook for him? And she kind of like, not in so many words, kind of explained it. It was like, it was a way for her to serve, right? So she was like, this is how, not like this is my job or it's my duty. She's like we have a division of roles. Like he does this, and then this is what I do. I get pleasure out of doing this. Like, you know, this, and the fact that he eats it and likes it, kind of like there's a confirmation, right?
Right.
Now, but then there were times where it's like, hey, woman, where are you? Like, why aren't you in here cooking my food? And I'm thinking, hey, if you're hungry, make yourself a sandwich or something. Like you can't, like, if you're like hungry enough that you're like, where's my food? Like, why don't you? And it's like, he said, I know how to cook. It's just hers is better, right? And like, I don't want to settle for what I can do. I'd rather kind of get what she makes for me, right? So now it's like more like a preference. It's not like you're just dependent on it. But
yeah, but if he's always doing that, then that expectation's still there.
Yeah. But see, that was another.
Whereas like me, like, you know, me and my wife work from home. So periodically she'll come in here and like give me food. And I'm like, oh, this is like awesome. Right.
But you had no expectation.
I don't expect it every day.
But see, we know what was missing in all that was the expectation of happiness. Like they were in like, I wouldn't say loveless marriage, but it wasn't like as satisfying to both parties. And that wasn't even a goal. It was like, you're in it, you're going to sustain, you're going to survive, you're in it for the kids, you're in it for the long haul.
Right.
But this whole like happiness business, that's what really started with like a generation, with like a boomer generation, where they're like, I'm just not happy. I'm just going to go find my happy somewhere else.
Right.
Instead of looking in the mirror and saying like, why aren't you happy? Or what can you do to change your situation? Like, because you could keep blaming the other person.
Yeah.
And you're just never going to be happy. You just found a bunch of reasons to blame.
Yeah.
So that whole choosing to be happy, whether it's as a
it's not
to like depression,
but it's also like realistic, right? Like, I'm happy today. Like, it's
right.
You got to have some expectations for yourself. So when we say you choose to be happy, it's meaning I'm not expecting.
On a daily basis, there's wins.
Yeah, I'm not expecting Dawg. I'm happy now. Dawg gave me Chick-fil-A. But, like, I'm not expecting that out of you all the time. Like, I don't expect, like, all right, or Dawg's going to fix it.
Yeah.
Like, whatever it is that's going on with Sean today. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah. So there's that unmet expectation that tends to kind of lower, like you don't meet the expectation, so it kind of.
But I would never want to put that on you or my wife or my kids.
But sometimes as employees, we do that to our employers, right? Like employees expect certain work environment, there's certain benefits, certain styles of management and things like that. And it's like, why do you do that? Like, if you don't do that at home. I've had people, like, it's something as simple as like making coffee. Like, they just expect the coffee. There's not a person designated to making coffee. So like, you expect coffee to be there.
Right.
You expect people to be there, clearing the carts from the parking lot so that you could park there. But God forbid you have to get out and like move a cart so you can park there.
Well, I think
so annoyed.
But I agree with where you're going with that. But that it's not also fair to just say work why is that any different? You are getting paid to do something. So the expectation of that is you applied for this role, you won the role. I'm now paying you to do this role, so go do it.
Right.
Your role as a manager of somebody else isn't make sure that they're always happy with.
Correct. That's what I was going to say. As part of that exchange, there's no like expectation of satisfaction.
Yeah. In the contract, it doesn't state Dawg must make this person happy at all times.
Boom. Yeah, not true. But that's one of those unmet expectations that people have, that like, I'm not satisfied or I'm not feeling it.
Right.
And there are times where you just have to suck it up and do it.
And I'm doing it right now.
Yeah. I
wouldn't say I'm not saying I'm happy in my job right now, but I still getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
I still have a job.
Correct. Amen.
And I'm still required to do something, and I'm still providing value.
Right. So that's the part I didn't understand about those like quiet quitters. You familiar with that term? Where like people that didn't quit to change their job, they just said, I'm just going to stay and just not do as much. So they're just kind of like presently inactive.
Right.
So they're still there, like they're at the job, but they're not performing. They just come to meetings, don't do anything.
Well, then the funny part is when they do get let go, I don't understand why I was let go.
Because you stopped working.
Right.
You're not doing your end of the bargain.
Right.
That's why.
Yep.
That's never the good answer. Like, okay, I'll just stop working. Okay, then you've quit.
Right.
You have quit. You've quit your end of this, end of the situation. So I don't know. I think it is, I don't want to oversimplify it, but it's not that complicated. Choosing to be happy in a bad situation is a choice.
In any situation, good or bad.
Despite all the overwhelming evidence.
I've seen people be upset at a good situation just because of a little tweak that it didn't go their way.
Right.
And it's like, no, dude, like you won. Like
you've seen the people that have like full on fights over like crab legs in a buffet. That's what that just reminded me of. You're like, getting upset in a good situation.
Right.
Plentiful harvest.
Right.
There's more crab legs coming.
They're on their way.
You gonna get into a fist fight, get thrown out of this restaurant because somebody took 3 and you only got 1? That's it. Like people are like literally at that level. Chill, man.
Yeah. There's more to come. What if the legs coming were 3 times the size of what this person took?
On that note, remember yesterday on the was it the indictment, arraignment, or whatever?
Yeah.
But there was one guy talking, and then somebody had like a mannequin leg over. It's like there was all these like media microphones. I don't remember who was talking. I think it was like an attorney or something. And so he was talking, and this guy had this mannequin leg just over, and it wasn't a microphone, and nobody caught it. And so we were like, what's with the leg? It was just this whole plastic leg was just hanging over. It's like a sea of microphones. Just a leg. Find it, look for it, and you'll see it. You're like, I can't believe that just happened. They just kept it up there. Yeah, it's crazy. There's just all these people that went to support, and there were people that were there to just, I don't know, yell.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of media people, and it's just like, dude, what kind of a nightmare is this for like Secret Service? You've already told everybody about it.
Right.
It's been, something like this, you could try to minimize the risk by not publicizing it.
Well, I just heard before heading over here that somebody ran into the Trump Tower with a gun. So
that was today?
Yeah. So I don't know.
Is this a good guy with a gun situation or a bad guy with a gun?
Don't know. I didn't finish watching it. So just like you said, everybody's on edge.
Yeah.
And we all just need to chill.
So there was like, I'm always looking for these like good guy with a gun stories. You don't see about them. Now is it because they don't want to talk about it? So like, like, how come you don't ever see any of these, right? But there was one that was today, was maybe yesterday. So this guy in San Antonio, I believe, his car gets stolen, but he had like an Apple AirTag. So he sees it's like 20 minutes away. He goes there like same day, sees the dude in the car. There's like an altercation, shoots the dude dead. So now they're like, he's like, I thought he was brandishing a weapon. He's trying to reclaim his property.
Right.
It got stolen from him. His car was stolen. The police are like, listen, people, like, even if you know who did it or whatever, don't take matters into your own hand. And I'm like, well, this is kind of close to like a good guy with a gun situation.
Yeah. Well, what about there was a lady in, I believe it was Chicago. She's getting sued by somebody who was trying to steal her purse, and she whipped out a gun and shot the guy, didn't shoot him dead.
That's self-defense.
But he's suing her now.
Why? Because it's not...
because he got shot, yeah.
Like, I came at you with a stick, you shot me with it. Well, that's the chance you take.
Well, you're trying to mug her.
Right. That's what it's for. Like, if you have it for self-defense and you didn't use it for self-defense, you did it for bank robbery, that's not what it's for. But this is the exact reason why she has it.
Exactly.
And it wasn't like, I thought he was going to mug me. He was doing it. Because see, that would be bad, right? It's like, oh.
I don't know about, like, I understand, like, you're upset your car was stolen, but I don't necessarily know that it was a good guy situation.
I think maybe emotions got the best.
Because I would have just said, hey, I got a tag on my thing. My car was just stolen. Here's where it's at. Let's go.
Call the cops, right?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I have a location on it. There it is. That's my car. Do you see that? Run the plate. Yeah, that's me.
Yep.
They could just, same way you found them, they would have swarmed in.
Yep.
Probably would have ended the same way, though.
Well, I mean, I agree.
But at least they have a kind of a... So what makes this different? Because they could have easily said, we thought he had a gun.
Have. There's a chance, though, it wouldn't have. There's
but
other...
if he goes like this, they're going to shoot him. They empty the clip. We thought he had a gun. I mean, that's it, right? So that's what he did. And it's his property. Guy's in the wrong. He's in a stolen vehicle that belongs to this guy. I think this guy will walk.
Oh, I think so too. But I was like,
it just sets a bad precedent. So that's what I'm saying.
But that's what I'm saying is like, he took it upon his own hands to go do it. Now, what if he was to get shot dead? Why are you putting yourself at risk like that?
Okay, so isn't that the whole purpose of the good guy with the gun?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, if you're the good guy and you went there and all of a sudden, let's just say the guy in the car gets his rounds off first and you're dead.
You're dead trying to fight a person at gunpoint to get your
and I don't even know what training this guy's had. That's why I said just call the police.
Okay, but let's say your car's not involved. So you're in Trump Tower doing your thing, and then this dude comes in with a gun. And you're like, oh, not today, Jack. And you go to shoot, and he's got a machine gun. Boom. Cuts you a new one. Okay, so now what? Should you have risked yourself doing that? That's it. Like, so good guy with a gun works if you win.
I guess what you're saying is like if you own a gun, make sure you're trained properly and you can aim.
It's kind of like poking the bear type deal. I mean, if you're gonna do it, just don't poke the bear.
Right.
You got to shoot to kill. It's got to be lethal. And then at that point, you have to be like, does it justify that? What justifies lethal action? Home invasion, like somebody comes to your house, you protect your family.
Well, I agree with that.
Done. Okay. All right.
But if somebody steals my car.
So what if somebody's in your shed? Shoot to kill? You know what I'm saying? Okay.
Well, there's only one story after that. So, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, there's a point where it's like, I don't know if lethal response was the right answer. We know, like, okay, that one shooting in Tennessee, they swarmed in, got the shooter, killed.
But my thing is like, if it's home, I think that's different than car, unless I'm in the car and they're threatening me.
Yeah, what apparently, if this guy okay, so all these ones, they're all the same because you're the party associated with the crime. It's being done to you. I'm saying, what if you're third party? And the good guy with the gun situation, the good guy is third party to the entire situation. There's a bank robbery. You're like, no, that's not right. I'm going to end this. while the teller's handing out the cash, you're like, boom, done.
You know you can win.
Oh, you're just like done in the head, done. That kid's dead or whoever. Now, did it need lethal response? Is it any different if a good guy does it? Is it any different if it was a scuffle? Is it any different if a cop does it? That's that whole thing about police brutalities. Is like they're like, oh, the response is too much. Oh,
Well, it was like that kid that in the riots, right?
Yeah, or like, he was running from the cops and they killed him, and it's like you're not supposed to run from the cops,
right?
They already have you. They're already like trying to talk to you, or you already maybe committed some other crime. I'm not talking about just getting pulled over. I'm just saying like you're running, and then they shoot. And
See,
like,
this is exactly why
I'm trying to find out when the justification for a lethal response is justifiably good, and which ones are like borderline, and which ones are like, okay, that's over the top. Do we know? And does the good guy with the gun know? Because in the mugging lady, I think she's in the clear.
Oh, I do too.
No, Sonny. Done.
Yeah, I just don't know what happened when he found his car.
We don't know. They said there was like
a scuffle. So what does that mean? Like,
right? Because then he shot him in the car. Like he's probably like trying to get him out. Like
right.
It's my car, whatever. Who knows?
Maybe he had the gun pointed at him already. So get out of the car.
Right. But they would have said, "Oh, the guy was armed." So I don't know. It's tough to make that distinction about the response level, especially with adrenaline.
I think for me, I'm not saying wasn't entitled to do what he did, but for me, that's different than a home invasion. Home invasion, I can't do anything. I'm almost trapped.
You're already on the reactive side.
Right. Versus him, he went to find his car.
Right.
And I think that's the difference.
Okay. Let's go back to the good guy with the gun and a bank robbery situation. It's not being done to you. You're just involved. You choosing to engage is a
I think
choice.
Until it's just like military at that point. Don't engage unless they engaged with you. Meaning, if he's going like this, give me all the money.
Oh, you have
he's not, at that point, he's not threatened. But the moment that person with the good guy with the gun gets threatened, then by all means, have your way.
So you got all these people that are like concealed carry, right? And they're walking at the grocery store, whatever. So if something goes down, they're ready to just mobilize and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna neutralize the threat."
Yeah, but
the likelihood that it's being done to them is low.
But the thing is that you say threat. Is it who's it a threat to?
To the public, and they're just kind of like self-proclaimed vigilante. I'm gonna take care of it. I'm not gonna call the cop.
I think they would still get off, but does that make it right morally?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
If they had actually thought they were going to fire that gun at whoever they had it pointed at, then I would agree that's a threat.
Or if they're already active, like shooting people.
Right.
You have to end it.
Without a doubt.
Right, but if he's like trying to do a bank robbery or he's trying to do
like he's in the cashier, yeah, and he's got the gun, go and give me all the money, and if the money is handed over and he leaves, it was a
nobody
threat.
got hurt.
Nobody got hurt
emotionally. Maybe the person that handed over money, their life was at stake. That whole time they were emotionally stricken, right? Something happened to them.
But is that a threat?
There was a threat.
For that person.
For that person.
Not necessarily the person that had the gun.
Right. So that's why, generally speaking, I don't buy the good guy with a gun argument. Like, we should be armed in order to protect. I get you got to protect yourself. but do you have to protect?
Are you
public?
responsible for everybody?
You're not responsible for that. That's not your job. There are other people that's their
cops.
job. That's right. So you want more of that? Support them in that.
That I agree with, but it doesn't mean that.
But
That
you know,
person-
there's hotheads out there.
Right.
They're just looking for a fight. Like literally, that's no different than driving to that car.
Yeah.
Like
He knew what he was doing,
right.
and
He
he
went-
knew he had a gun with him.
Right. He may have even stopped by to get it.
Right.
Like, I'm going to go get this. And you got it. You got the car.
Covered in blood.
Yep. I don't know. I just, so like that's gun violence also. And then there's a lot of that stuff that just becomes
then
domestic.
But there's like was it in Austin or something, that church that had that shooter come in with the trench coat? Like, he didn't even get one round off, but they already eliminated the threat.
Right.
So, yeah, he could have saved lives. I don't know.
So when I don't know.
This is a great argument because I don't know. I go both ways.
There's a line somewhere. I just don't know
know.
when it becomes like
Right.
okay. Like we know when it's not okay. So even in that church shooting, right? If he'd gotten any rounds off, I think he had shot somebody, right?
Mm-mm.
No, he just walked in with it, right?
Yeah, and they already recognized that he had it.
Okay. Then what about somebody who has a concealed carry and he comes in? We don't know their
Right.
intention.
Right.
So then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, that guy's packing. Pow. Same difference. What, trench coat? Like, I mean, what's the difference? What justifies that response before it's even a reaction to something? That's the thing. I don't know if people are trained on the detection of the threat.
Right.
You may be trained on the mechanism of how to use it. And I say maybe.
It reminds me of Beverly Hills Cop when they're in that bar.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you've changed, man.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think the like if like let's say, and I don't condone it. I'm just saying, like if a kid brings a gun to school, he's done.
Yeah.
He hasn't done anything. But then, like, what if like a teacher brings a gun to the school? Hasn't done anything either. Is he there to protect kids, or is he going to do things? Like, when do we determine what are they going to do? It's easy to tell once they've done it, right? Active shooter situation. Take care of it. But before it happens, the whole thought crime, it's hard.
Well, that's when they were engaging with that guy with the shotgun at the church. They engaged with him first, and then he was like running with the gun, I think. So then
it's going to be tough because it's hard to draw the line between who's the aggressor and who's
right.
who. Because if you show up and you see somebody gunned down and they had a gun, what if they were the ones trying to defend themselves and you just shot first, right? In the carjacking situation, the guy in the car could have been like, hey, my life was at stake.
Yeah.
Some crazy guy comes at me. He may have not been the one who stole it. He may have been in a stolen vehicle, and some guy comes with a gun. I shot first. Who's defending who? It's not that simple. That's why I'm saying, like, it's not just enough to like, oh, you know, what do you call it? A armed society is a safe society. I don't know if I agree with that to the T. Let's say if everybody has a gun. Everybody has a gun. Good guys, bad guys, women, children, trans, everybody's got a gun. See, that's where it's getting weird right now, right? So the lady was getting mugged, and she's like, not today, Sonny. What if it's like, not today, Sonny? Like, what if it was a trans lady and shot back? Is that self-defense?
She would have been hero.
Yeah. So like when there's a shooting, so like when there's a shooting, but it's like a trans shooting, and they go, oh, the guy was like conflicted.
Well, that's
she mental health.
But
what if you're like,
that's a good example with that, because one of the things that I disagree with what's happening with that shooter in Nashville is they're playing her off to be the victim now all of a sudden. No, she went in and shot
regardless of
kids,
their dress up tactics or what they like to do in their free time. At that point, you're an assailant of whatever persuasion, of whatever race, of whatever age.
Right.
You're an assailant and you're done. And the fact that it was premeditated, that's even worse.
Right. And, they found the suicide note, and it's like, the one thing I don't understand, like, you want to go kill yourself? Why do you got to take people out with you?
Look, it looks like your goal was to just kind of end.
Right.
I mean, again, I think we have to give the disclaimer. We're not condoning violence.
No.
And we're not condoning. If you're having thoughts of suicide or whatever, please seek help. Not telling you to do it.
Well, she should have.
You can't take other people out with you.
She, him, whatever it is. She wouldn't.
But it happens in domestic stuff where people like take out their whole family and they go to murder, suicide. I mean, just take all these people out.
Why?
You have that many problems? Bye.
Right.
Turn yourself in. Go somewhere else.
Right.
Leave. Be the absentee parent. I mean, you can't just be like, oh, I'm leaving and you guys are all dead. Let their lives, as messed up as it is, let them try to process that. Or like people who like drive off a cliff with the kids strapped in or go in the lake. What are you doing? Something went haywire at some point. But now you're making decisions for other people. They didn't choose that.
Right.
So it's not that simple. It's not a simple. So I don't buy the good guy with a gun. And just saying mental health is not like we had a whole couple of episodes on mental health. I'm pro getting help.
Yes.
Mental health is real. I'm just saying they weren't declared mentally unhelped until they did what they did.
Right.
Weeks before, totally fine. Get as many guns as you want.
Right.
Because that's not going to show up. Their intention is not going to show up on a background report. Their intention or their dress-up beliefs or whatever fantasy they have doesn't show up on their persuasion or whatever. It's just basically everybody's got a right to get one.
Right.
Get one like anybody else. I get one. She gets one.
Right.
It's only until afterwards. Like there's plenty of straight males that do all this stuff. Had nothing to do with it. It was like, oh yeah, he snapped. Right? The Vegas guy?
Yeah.
He would have fit in Vegas just fine. Like he's just there, you know? Like there's plenty of people that are like completely out of their mind and they're just like Vegas, baby.
Yeah.
It's only until they snap and start doing this, we're like, oh, mental health.
Well, what I find funny is too is like when the whole defund the police thing was going on, they wanted to send in social workers. It's like, what is that going to do? It's
not going to do it because here's the problem with that. If you start looking at, oh, here's what we think they're going to do. Who's thinking? Who's prejudging now? Right? So I haven't even done anything, but you're like, that guy might have some terroristic tendencies. Think about it.
Right.
Now I'm losing my rights.
It wasn't even before that. It was the gunfire is going on. Send in a social worker. This person's obviously has a mental issue.
That's too late. They've already snapped.
I'm just saying. Right. Like, that's what they wanted to do, man.
You do that if somebody's thinking they were going to jump or something.
Right.
Only hurt
Send
themselves.
them to the Golden Gate Bridge.
They're hurting other people. Like you got to stop that. That's over. Right. Yeah. So I don't think. So this is like you got to get help before that happens. You have to choose happy before that happens.
Yeah.
By the time you snap and you're leaving the human race, it's one way or another. You're either leaving in handcuffs, you're going to spend the rest of your life behind bars, or you're going 6 feet under. By choice or by force. But that's it. Like, you've gone too far now.
Yeah.
That's why seeking help before that, choosing happy, finding your balance, finding your zone of peace, that's all proactive. Minute you go postal, bye-bye. It's over. There's just so many off-ramps.
Right.
None of them are good.
Nope. Interesting.
It's just that's what we're as a society, whether everyone's Karens or everyone's just pissed off, that's what we have to aim to prevent.
Yeah.
A faction of our society just losing it.
Yeah. Because it's
so you know what I'm actually like for? Like, what are you for?
What are you for?
Rage rooms. I'm telling you, man. Rage rooms let you get it out. And then you just kind of have this like moment of destruction in a safe, controlled environment.
Is that what, like, the plates?
Yeah, they have rage rooms. It's like
You're throwing plates at a brick wall?
but see, like, so you have like different, like they have like garage, they have like, you know, glass, they have like different flavors, right? And then but you buy the stuff, so that's how they make the money.
Yeah.
So like there's like things in
What
there.
are they doing? Going to, like,
It's usually like
Salvation Army?
yeah, they buy all this cheap stuff, but then you're like, okay, like that bowl is $5. These plates are like 50 cents a piece or whatever. So you buy the stuff. So you get the room.
And then you charge
choose
$1.
your weapon, right? A bat or like a crowbar or whatever. And then you can buy the stuff you want to destroy. And then they put it in the room for you. You go in, you wear your protective stuff or whatever, and just have at it. But there's some stuff. There's a couch. There's TV on the wall. There's some stuff that you could just destroy. Those are just part of the room. You know, like people that hit a car or whatever. It's like, you know, if you ever wanted to just smash the window of a car or whatever, do that. Or if you want to get the lead out, like go to a gun range and just shoot targets. Get it out. But if you're just on edge, you're just like kind of trigger happy and you're just waiting, you're just itching for something. Somebody starts yelling at the bank teller, like, that's it! And it didn't require that. It didn't require that because you should have reset like weeks ago.
Right.
You should have.
Right.
Why they're yelling, that's not your problem. So
That's it.
I prescribe rage rooms. If I was a therapist, I'd be like, 2 days a week. You know, go ahead, get it out.
I think we need this is a business opportunity for me and you, and we'll take insurance.
Yeah, I think we could make a good case that this is saving them a lot of aggravation later.
Right.
Know? I think it's therapeutic because see, all this like axe throwing came in, right? But it's like you're allowing people to drink and throw axes. That's not a good combination. But I think a rage room, and having like, it's like you have to have targeted advertising for it, right? So go to like the comment sections and people are just like, just trolling and just being nasty and just be like,
Hey, let me send you an ad.
Yeah. We have openings this Wednesday.
On the hour.
Tell them we send you 50% off your first rage. Buy a 5-pack. Come back. Get a monthly membership. Come in here on a regular basis.
Huh.
On a serious note, in Japan, the reason they have those like geisha houses, this is like those elevated massages and things like that. But it's like these like pent up, frustrated businessmen. They don't want to take it out on the wife.
Right.
And it's kind of culturally understood. I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying here's a culture that says you go get your nasties out of the way, okay?
Right.
And then go home, chill. Be nice.
Right.
And you can't be like frustrated. They go get the frustration out.
Right.
So this needs to happen with this elevation of people's frustration. There has to be a way to relieve that pressure.
Right.
Legally. And legitimately with very little to no human damage.
Right.
I think people will chill out a little bit.
Yeah.
Get it out. Let's do one. Maybe do a review. Let's find one.
Okay.
Let's go. We'll do we'll do one there. And then come back and talk about it.
Yeah.
So, one range room coming up. Yeah. That's it. Going down.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Peace out.
Peace.